I have created an irrefutable, objectively correct tier list using the conglomerate data of my live stream chat. The tier list is simple. We're going to rate all of the Brave arsenals for both PvP and PvE, and my chat ends up voting on what they think is the best. Let's get into it. Let's start here with the Edge Transit. Now, the Edge Transit is a very good grenade launcher, as you guys are aware. I'm gonna keep it right here in C tier and we're gonna discuss it, okay? And I'm sure everybody in chat will be completely non-biased. Stat-wise, nobody cares, right? Like that's a nothing burger for the stats. Nobody else needs to see the stats here, right? They're all B for Brave. No, I think some are better than that. Now, I believe that the perks are gonna be the big make or break for these, because for the vast majority of these, save for maybe a few, the vast majority of these are gonna really come down to the perks themselves. Please tell me this is a PvP tier list. No, this is a democracy tier list. No, this is both PvP and PvE. Our rating shiny or normal, there is literally no difference between the two other than the perks. I know chat has shiny object syndrome. They're just a flock of crows. Shiny is better. Yeah, I know chat, I know. Oh, we got catted. Hold on. Nope, we're still logging in. Son of a bitch. All right, anyway, so I think everyone's just gonna be rocking bait and switch and probably like sticky grenades, and you're either gonna be, depending on what you're gonna be going for here, you're either gonna be doing like an envious assassin thing, you're gonna be doing a chain reaction thing, or you're gonna be doing something like a cascade point, right? Like, I feel like everyone's gonna be doing pretty much the same thing. Deconstruction also is very good now. It was kind of off of everybody's radar initially. Now with all that objective information now lodged deep within your brain holes, we are now gonna put this up to a vote, a poll if you would. All right, the poll is being started. Vote now. All right, and the poll has ended with barely edging out the S tier. We have A tier for the Edge Transit. I think that's a good pick. Rigged. See, it was good. It was a good, everyone can agree. That was 100% objective. Y'all, the people got to vote. And if anybody gets mad at me in the comments section, I can just point them at you guys. Next, now a weapon that we don't have access to yet. We just got it today. But of course, we are intelligent specimens. We know how to rate things without even having them in our hands, and that is Blast Furnace. This is a classic right here, and I feel like when it comes to pulse rifles, Blast Furnace is like one of the few things that pop to mind, but there is a problem. This archetype in general isn't as strong as it used to be. Here are Blast Furnace's stats. So, of course, excellent range. Stability is really good on this for this archetype. The archetypes here tend to be kind of hit or miss for the stability, but it's really solid. The thing that I believe from the PvP standpoint, which I do believe is primarily where you're going to be looking at this thing, is the handling. The handling is kind of doo-doo butter. It's a little doo-doo butter. Now, that's not necessarily something you need for a pulse rifle, but it does hurt a little bit. It does mean that this thing's gonna be pretty much just stuck in the back constantly. But everything else, again, about this weapon is great. And here are the perks. I haven't taken an opportunity to look at these perks yet. So let's take a look-see. Head Seeker, very solid for a 4 burst. Kinetic Tremors is okay. It's not really something you're going for. If you're going for PvP, Perpetual Motion is fantastic, so is Keep Away. Shoot the Loot is fine, but the only way that you're gonna really, I think you're gonna see a lot of Shoot the Loot stuff is if you're running the Firefly, which is again solid. Snapshot feels like a whatever pick. I don't know if you're ever gonna do Snapshots. Zen Moment for PvP is fantastic. You've got the Desperate Measures perk up there, which is, as we talked about before, a really solid damage perk, all things considered. Not the best, but pretty darn solid. Rapid Hit, good. Rampage, solid. Frenzy's probably gonna be your primary go-to PvE pick there, and Kill Clip. So we aren't able to do like this crazy double damage stacking thing. The best you're gonna get is like Head Seeker or Kinetic Tremor plus another damage perk, but everything seems pretty solid. Starting the poll, let's take a look. Let's see what people vote for here. Currently B tier winning by a mile. B for Blast. All right, yeah, fair enough. The winner is B tier by a wide mile, 54%. The very next one is A tier at 28%. Not even close. Blast Furnace heading to B tier. Forbearance. Now, not the best for PvP, not the best, but I feel like most waveframe GLs aren't really the thing you're going for in PvP anyway. Forbearance has had some contenders. And by contenders, I mean itself. Yeah, I know everybody's probably putting this in S tier. So I think the one that everybody's going for, like, we all can agree that the thing that people are interested in is Demolitionist and Chain Reaction, right? Like, that's the thing we're going for. So yeah, and that's the thing, like, you could still just go with the old Forbearance roll and just do Ambitious Assassin Chain Reaction. That's it. This is not something you're taking in PvP, so it's not really something you really should take into consideration. Even still, Disruption Break is really good. The votes are coming in. It's a competition right now between S and A tier. The gap is narrowing. The gap is narrowing. Clearly none of you have one. Oh boy. Slander being thrown around in the chat. 5 seconds remain. With S tier, congratulations. Congratulations, Forbearance. You've moved up to our first representation in S tier. Congratulations. Speaking of grenade launchers, Mountaintop. Mountaintop has made its triumphant return with a wide pool of perks. Compared to other kinetic grenade launchers, how does it feel? It's currently, if I remember correctly, the top 3 weapons in PvE right now. Like, it's like one of the top 3 most used weapons. In terms of PvP, you're never going to use this thing. So we do have to keep that in mind. We do have to keep that in mind. Is that something that we bring down on our tier list because it's like a non-usable thing? I break ankles with Mountaintop, don't you dare slander it. It's fine, don't get me wrong, it's fine. I'm not interested in wasting my special ammo for a bit of extra movement when I have grapples, blinks, eager edge, all this other stuff, even like an empty eager edge. Let's see what chat votes for. Currently A tier with a wide lead. Okay, maybe it is something about the PvP that people are considering. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I was totally expecting Mountaintop to end up getting S tier. I 100% was expecting Mountaintop to get S tier, but I am shocked to say that it is getting placed in A tier. In A tier. Congratulations, Mountaintop. Next is Elsie's Rifle. Elsie's Rifle, I believe, is an S tier contender for PvP, but in terms of PvE, so we've kind of got the inverse problem here. Whereas Mountaintop was like goated for PvE and not that great for PvP, so that brought it down. For PvP, I think this is the exact opposite, where an Elsie's is really freaking good for PvP, but it's just okay for PvE. There we go. Beautiful. Perks. All right, so if you're going for PvP, you got Zen Moment, you got Kill Clip, Head Seeker, you could even do Desperado if that's the way you want to go with it. For PvE, probably going to do something like Repulsor Brace is a really solid pick. Destabilizing rounds, Repulsor Brace, if you want to do that kind of synergy, it's really solid there. Starting the poll, here we go. A tier leading by a wide margin with a tough competition between both S tier and B tier. Currently B tier, second place. Surprising to see. Elsie's Rifle, congratulations. Going into A tier. Congratulations, Elsie's Rifle. The very next thing was B tier, Hammerhead. There's been a hot bit of debate about Hammerhead. I'm seeing a lot of people jump up and down on the S tier. The big thing here for the Hammerhead is the double damage things, right? Yeah, Rampage killing tally to just delete ads. Some people are calling it the best machine gun in the game. Others saying it's mid. Wow, some really divisive opinions here. Really divisive opinions here. It's average, not small. Oh, bruh. Argument for playing devil's advocate here. For the mag is too small. Envious Assassin is a thing. So is 4th times the charm. The poll has now started. Strong lead with S tier. A tier coming in right behind. It is a neck and neck tie between S tier and A tier right now. Oh, somebody brought up the enhanced traits. Somebody brought up the enhanced traits side of things. Okay, that's interesting. 3, 2, 1. By a very narrow margin, it is in fact going to be placed in A tier. Congratulations to the Hammerhead. A tier. Definitely like the top end of A tier though, right? So we can move like, we'll move like Edge Transit and stuff over. Now, on to one I do not believe to be that good, and that is the Hung Jury. I would have taken almost any other weapon other than Hung Jury for the Brave Arsenal. I cannot believe we're getting yet another iteration of the Hung Jury, and we finally loaded. Excellent. We'll get that going here in just a second. Let's roll through the rest of these real quick. I feel like most people are not taking scout rifles in PvE nor PvP. And that its best chance is in as a PvP weapon, but it's being competed with by itself. Yeah, a lot of people are saying really mid. I'm seeing the first like serious, not as a joke, not people just throwing it out for the sake of the meme, the first serious competition for a D or F tier here. 3, 2, 1. Congratulations, Hung Jury. You have ended up smack dab in the center at C tier. A weapon that has also had quite a lot of debate, and that is the Midnight Coup. PvE, it's got some okay perks. It's not bad. Let's get the Jarvis, bring up the Midnight Coup for us, please. All right, for the PvP scene, you're going to be doing something like moving target, maybe enlightened action. You've got explosive payload, which is good. Everything else is just okay. Just okay. And then in the column 4 for PvP, you're looking at something probably that's going to be Zen Moment or opening shot, maybe. The fact that it can't roll both Zen Moment and opening shot hurts it. And then in terms of PvE, you've got the Firefly kinetic tremors, or even something like explosive payload kinetic tremors. Attrition orbs is good for certain builds. Then for that 4th column, you've got anywhere between rampage, kinetic tremors, one for all, which is all right. And then of course desperate measures, which is just good all around, and frenzy, of course. Probably an unpopular opinion, its model is also mid. I kind of agree with that. It also isn't doing anything really fantastic, right? It's not like breaking away. Then you have things like the Rose, which are just like the S tier competitor for hand cannons for PvP. So it's really sticky, but just other than that, it's just okay. Let's see how these votes end up getting cast. I'm genuinely curious. Huge contender for A tier. Wow, okay. A lot of people are voting A tier here. Massive margin on A tier right now. 3, 2, 1. And that is it. A tier for the Midnight Coup. I think that's fair. I think Midnight being placed in A tier is fair. All right, 3 more remain. 3 more remain, starting with the Succession. Here are the Succession's perk rolls. I feel like there are better kinetic sniper rifles out there, but definitely not a bad sniper rifle. In terms of PvP, it gets outclassed in terms of its stats. I feel like something like the Bite of the Fox is just a better sniper, generally speaking. This is not a bad rifle. You've got moving target, you've got snapshot. In terms of PvE, it's fine. I feel like this is fine. The big thing for this, I believe, is probably Discord is the spicy thing on here that's you don't see a whole lot of. In terms of just general damage, you've got things like reconstruction, recombination. Then you've got the, what's that, redirect, I believe it is. Vorpal. Okay, let's put out the poll. Let's see what people are feeling here. I'm curious if A tier or B tier is going to win this one out, because I feel like the competition... Oh, there's B tier. B tier now taking the lead by 10%. And that is 100% a B tier vote. A B tier vote. Yep. So it's going to go right up next to Blast Furnace. Congratulations, Succession. The Recluse, an infamous weapon in the Crucible. And in PvE, honestly, this weapon was a absolute monster back in the day. But not nearly as good as it used to be. The namesake perk for it, the Recluse, the Master of Arms perk for it, is not as good as it used to be. It's been nerfed pretty significantly. Let's actually talk about the stats here, because I think that this is actually important to understanding how good this gun actually is. I think the thing to keep in mind for this is that this is a lightweight SMG, right? Which is good, very good. 100 recoil direction out the gate by default. You don't need to do anything for this thing in order to make it good. Stability, range, and handling are all very, very, very solid. Now, obviously, there are some throwaways here. You've got hipfire grip, which most people are not going to be going for. Subsistence we have messed around with, and it's just okay. It does not need something like dynamic sway with how much stability it has and recoil it has control just by default. I have a pretty strong opinion it's probably going to get B tier. Oh, I could be wrong. Hold up. Okay, B tier and A tier are competing for each other. Okay, I think that's fair. Yeah, I doubt it's gonna get C tier. I don't consider it a C tier weapon. I don't think many people do either. I just don't think that it's really doing anything to really wow anybody. Would have voted D if that was an option. I will die on this hill. Wow, okay, strong opinions. Wow, it is separated by 1% right now between A and B tier. Separated by 1%. It is anybody's game right now. A and B tier are neck and neck right now. Neck and neck. There are so many freaking votes that are just barely keeping this thing out of either of these positions right now. Holy cow, this is close. Holy cow, this is close between A and B tier. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I cannot believe this. It is an exact split. Oh my gosh, at the last second. A tier pulling it away at the very last second with an extremely close tie. An extremely close second place for B tier by 1% difference. 1% difference. That's insanity. Okay? It is being put at the very, very bottom of A tier. Very close. You know what? It straddles the line so much, we're gonna put it in between. We're gonna put it in between. It's going to be the A-B tier, Luna's Howl. Again, another notorious PvP weapon. Mag Howl has been changed. It is still a very solid perk roll. All things considered, its Magnificent Howl perk is still very, very effective. And I feel like this is one of those things that's going to require a little bit of trigger time here. So we're doing this a little bit flat-footed. For PvP, Eye of the Storm is really good. Slide Shot's really solid. Enlightened Action's just okay. Heal Clip is good. Subsistence for PvE stuff. Incandescent is alright. Mag Howl's been reworked. Let me read out Mag Howl's perk here. The number of precision final blows before reloading affects the total rounds granted with increased range and damage. Precision final blows with Magnificent Howl active extend the effect for additional rounds. The bonus damage to this, by the way, is 50%, right? I believe it's 77 to the head right now. So that would bump it up to, what is that? 100 and something? So 2 taps potential. The high roll potential of this with Mag Howl is pretty darn good. Begin the poll. Okay, S tier is jumping from like 80% to 40%. There's a strong competition right now between S and A tier. Oh my goodness. Okay, we have another really close set of votes here between S and A tier. Both S and A tier are competing with only 1% separating the two. S tier's polling away. It's now at a 10% lead. A 10% lead. Yep, Sunshot's true. Sunshot does exist. Sunshot does exist. Igneous also is a contender to bring down the Magnificent Howl setup. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that'll wrap us up. S tier for the Lunas. S tier for the Lunas. Fascinating. All right, so there is your list. And if you're like, well, that list is bullshit, you all voted for it. This is the list you guys made. This is a chat made tier list. In our S tier contender, we have the Forbearance, the Luna's Howl. A tier, we have Hammerhead, Edge Transit, Elsie's Rifle, Mountaintop, and Midnight Coup. And we have Recluse kind of straddling the line between A and B tier. It was really, really close, so I could see it going either way for that. B tier, we have Blast Furnace, Succession, and our lowest pick, the weapon that you least want to chase, is the 4th iteration of the Hung Jury. I don't disagree with this. I think this list is pretty darn good. Oh, Falling Guillotine. Oh my gosh, you're so right. Where the hell's Falling Guillotine? Why didn't this end up here? I have it here. What the hell? All right, here we go. Falling Guillotine. The last weapon. You know what? We're just gonna eyeball this. We got some A tiers, some B tiers. It followed off, so its name is accurate. True. Best Eager Edge sword, best DPS sword with Vorpal bait and switch. Yeah, as a sword. Well, if you're a dumbass, it's bad, yeah. But if you need a sword, that's the thing to consider it for. It's literally the best sword. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. All right. Tell you what, I'll end up placing this one. Here's what I'm gonna say. In terms of DPS, yes, it is a sword. But if you're going to use a sword, I feel like this is the best that you're gonna ever end up picking. It also has Eager Edge. If it didn't have Eager Edge, I would probably put it in A tier. But because it also rolls Eager Edge, which means it also has that utility if you so choose to, and because it can roll Shiny, this is actually where I think Shiny can come into play. Because it can roll Shiny, you can swap between the two without actually having to drop your ammo count. So I'm going to place this in S tier. Now you can get mad at me in the comments for this particular roll here. You can for this particular placement. If you think Falling Guillotine does not deserve S tier, that's something you can flame me in the comments for. All right, there is your tier list. 100%, well, 11 out of 12 objectively voted tier list. That cannot be wrong. That cannot be wrong.